the end of the day, your feet should be dirty, your hair messy, and your eyes sparkling jaunty. That's how childhood should be, and that's how it was for Christopher Robin and his friends. The stories are written by A.A. Milne. I'll be reading an adapted version of the first chapter of the book titled Winnie the Pooh. In this chapter, I'll tell one of the silly adventures Winnie the Pooh went on. One day, when Winnie the Pooh was out walking, he came to an open place in the middle of the forest. In the middle of this place was a large oak tree, and from the top of that oak tree there came a loud buzzing noise. Winnie the Pooh sat down at the foot of the tree, put his head between his paws, and began to think. He said to himself, "That buzzing noise means something. You don't get a buzzing noise like that without it meaning something. If there's a buzzing noise, someone is making a buzzing noise. The only reason for a buzzing noise that I know is because you're a bee. The only reason that I know for being a bee is making honey. The only reason for making honey is so that I can eat it." So Winnie the Pooh got up and began to climb the tree. He climbed and he climbed, and as he climbed, he sang a little song to himself. It went like this. "Isn't it funny how a bear likes honey? Buzz, buzz, buzz. I wonder why he does." And he climbed a little further, then a little further, and then just a little further. He was nearly there now. He just stood on that branch. Crack! "Oh, help!" cried Pooh as he dropped 10 feet onto the branch below him. "If only I hadn't!" he exclaimed as he turned head over heels and crashed into another branch 20 feet below. Of course, it was rather, he admitted as he slithered very quickly the next 6 branches. "It all comes, I suppose," he decided as he said goodbye to the last branch, spun round 3 times and flew gracefully into a gorse bush. "It all comes of liking honey so much." He crawled out of the gorse bush and brushed the prickles from his nose, and he began to think again. And the first person he thought of was Christopher Robin. So Winnie the Pooh went round to his friend Christopher Robin, who lived behind a green door in another part of the forest. "Good morning, Christopher Robin." "Good morning, Winnie the Pooh. I wonder if you got such a thing as a balloon about you." "A balloon?" "Yes, I've been thinking to myself as I came along. I wonder if Christopher Robin has such a thing as a balloon about him." "What do you want a balloon for?" Winnie the Pooh looked around and said nobody was listening. He put his paw to his mouth and said in a deep whisper, "Honey." "But you don't get honey with balloons." "I do." "Well, it just so happens I have a green balloon and a blue balloon. Which one would you like?" Pooh put his head between his paws and thought very carefully. "It's like this. When you go after honey with a balloon, the great thing is not to let the bees know that you're coming. Now, if you have a green balloon, they might think you're only part of the tree and not notice you. If you have the blue balloon, they like to think that you're only part of the sky and not notice you. The question is, which is more likely? Wouldn't they notice you underneath the balloon? They might or they might not. You never tell the bees." Pooh thought for a moment longer and then said, "I shall try to look like a small black cloud. That will deceive them. You better have the blue balloon." So Christopher Robin said, and so it was decided. They both went out with the balloon, and Christopher Robin took his gun with him just in case, as he always did. And Winnie the Pooh went into a very muddy place that he knew of and rolled until he was black all over. And then, when the balloon was blown up as big can be, and Christopher and Pooh were holding onto the string, Christopher suddenly let go, and Pooh Bear floated gracefully up into the sky and stayed there, level with the top of the tree, about 20 feet away from it. "Hooray!" Christopher shouted. "Isn't that fine? What do I look like?" shouted Winnie the Pooh down to him. "You look like a bear holding onto a balloon," Christopher Robin shouted back. Not like a small black cloud in a blue sky? Not very much. Oh, well, perhaps it looks different from up here. As I say, you can never tell with bees." There was no wind to blow him near to the tree, so there he stayed. He could see the honey, he could smell the honey, but he couldn't quite reach it. After a little while, he called down, "Christopher Robin," in a loud whisper. "Hello? I think the bees suspect something. Perhaps they think you're after their honey. It may be that. You can never tell with bees." There was another little silence. Then Pooh called down again, "Christopher Robin?" "Yes? Have you an umbrella in your house?" "I think so. I wish you would bring it here and walk up and down with it, and look up at me every now and then and say, 'Tut, tut, it looks like rain.' I think if you did that, it would help the deception which you're practicing on these bees." So Christopher Robin laughed to himself, thinking of how fond he was of that silly little bear, and went and got his umbrella. "Oh, there you are," called down Winnie the Pooh as soon as Robin got back. "I was beginning to get anxious. I discovered the bees are now definitely suspicious. Shall I put up my umbrella?" "Yes, if you walk up and down with your umbrella saying, 'Tut, tut, it looks like rain,' I shall do what I can by singing a cloud song, such as a cloud might sing. Go." So while Christopher Robin walked up and down and wondered if it would rain, Winnie the Pooh sang his song. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. Every little cloud always sings aloud. How sweet to be a cloud floating in the blue. It makes him very proud to be a little cloud. The bees were still buzzing as suspiciously as ever. Some of them indeed left their nests and flew all around the cloud as it began. The second verse of the song. One bee sat on the note of the cloud for a moment, and then got up again. Oh, Christopher Robin! Yes? I have just been thinking. I have come to a very important decision. These are the wrong sort of bees. Are they? Quite the wrong sort. So I think they would make the wrong sort of honey, shouldn't you? Would they? Yes, I think I shall come down. How? Asked Christopher Robin. Winnie the Pooh hadn't thought about this. If he let go of the string, he would fall, bump, crash. He didn't like the idea of that. So he thought for a long time, and then he said, Christopher Robin, you must shoot the balloon with your gun. Have you got your gun? Of course I have. If I do that, it'll spoil the balloon. But if you don't, I'll have to let go, and that will spoil me. When Pooh put it like this, Christopher saw how it was, and he aimed very carefully at the balloon, and fired. Ow! Cried Pooh. Did I miss? Christopher asked. You didn't exactly miss, but you missed the balloon. I'm so sorry, he said, and then fired again. This time he hit the balloon, and the air came out slowly, and Winnie the Pooh floated down to the ground, and they both went home laughing about their adventure.